All righty, welcome everybody. This is the first show back under the old name, so I think we got a good one for you. Let me go ahead and bring my crew in here. Well, actually, it's not much of a crew tonight because let me see if I got the right thing here. Yeah, here we go. Ryan is AWOL tonight. I think tonight was. Or today rather was RJ's birthday, so he's doing the family thing. So good for him. But anyway, we've got a good show tonight. Got Tom from NWWI, which, if I remember correctly, stands for Northwest Wisconsin Workshop. He's going to be joining us here in just a minute, and we're going to be talking about his awesome Altmill machine, as well as he has one of my favorite things, the RapidChange ATC. So if you got any questions or thinking about getting one of those, this is the show for you. So without further ado, let me think I'm going to use the dynamic scenes for this, Paul. I'll add you in here. And then we'll add Tom in here. And I think we're going to do, since Tom's going to be the featured guest, we'll just do him like that. So, hi, Tom. How you doing?
Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I can hear you okay. I'm hearing a little bit of an echo too. Have you got the show turned on YouTube or something?
I just have it on so I can hear you guys. If I mute it, then I can't hear you.
Oh, well, you should be able to hear us through. Um, yeah, should be able to hear us through eBooks or just through your regular computer without having YouTube on.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you. Yeah, I can hear you okay. All right, there we go. All right, so Tom, tell us a little bit about
We
yourself.
lost you, Dave.
What's that? Can you hear me, Tom? Okay, we may have a few technical difficulties here or something. Can you hear me okay, Tom? He's not.
My guess is no.
Yeah, I would.
If anybody can hear me, I think we're having technical difficulties. Like
We
the
can
live
hear
stream
you.
is still going.
Yeah, we can hear you, but apparently you can't hear us. So, um, well, if you have to, well, he can't hear me, I guess. But if you have to, go ahead and turn the YouTube back on, and we'll just deal with a little bit of an echo. Or if you have some earphones or headphones, that would work great if you had it on the YouTube. The problem with the YouTube is you're going to be on a delay because it's going to run about 30 seconds behind all the other stuff. So, but anyway, if you can hear me, um, tell us a little bit about yourself. I know you're a fairly new YouTube channel. I think you started in April. So,
I was just going to hold a note up in front of the camera here.
okay. And we, believe it or not, folks, we did a tech check on my little test screen thing, and we didn't have any issues. So I don't know what the deal is now.
Testing. You guys hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Not sure what's happening.
Let's see. Let's do this.
He didn't see my note, evidently.
Yeah, I don't know. Well, I know he's trying to run OBS along with EVMux. He was getting that because that's what he uses when he streams.
Oh,
So we'll give him a minute here and see if he can get some things worked out.
well, we can hear him.
Yeah, but if he can't hear us,
Jerry says have him log out and come back in.
okay. Let me highlight that so he can see it. It looks like he's freezing up a little bit too, or unless he's
Yeah,
really still.
yeah.
Yeah, OBS with
Yep,
okay.
he just logged out, so maybe when he comes back in, it'll work okay.
Yeah, we're gonna hope so anyway. We'll wait for him to come back in.
If not, we'll lose half our audience because who wants to listen to two old men talk?
Yeah,
There he's back.
yeah, I can hear you now. Yeah.
The problem was you couldn't hear us.
See, I can hear myself in the echo with there, but if that's what it's going for you to hear us, we'll just roll with that because it's not. Yeah, we'll just go ahead and do that, Tom. What I was asking you, and when I guess you couldn't hear me, is I know you're fairly new to YouTube. I looked, and it looks like you just started your YouTube channel back in April. So, just tell everybody a little bit about yourself. And let me get him back on here. We'll switch him like that. And yeah, just tell everybody a little bit about yourself and what got you into YouTube and what what you got going on.
Yeah, so I just got into YouTube a couple of months ago. So I've been CNCing for a few years. I got an old Shark Next Wave from hand me down from my dad that I kind of started on and kind of got into this stuff. So as soon as I saw this Altmill with the in the RapidChange and doing some research on YouTube, I thought, wow, this is going to be quite a deal. So I just decided to give back to YouTube since YouTube has given so much to me over the years. I mean, I've done every project from changing brakes on my car to doing the CNC stuff, learning light burn and doing laser things. I mean, I've learned so much from YouTube. I thought, I'll start a YouTube channel, put myself out there, and just try to give back. And it's been really well received by some of the guys in the community. The RapidChange, I think the newest videos that are out there are like a year old from RapidChange, and so there's really no current content. So I thought, wow, what an opportunity to try to make this fully automated and help the CNC community, get into this stuff. So I've been woodworking my whole life. So, putting walnut boards together and maple boards together to have something to cut on the CNC is pretty much second nature for me. I just do it part-time, and I got a full-time job, running a division of our company here in Wisconsin. And I just do this on the side just for fun and just trying to give back. So that's
Well,
basically it.
you hit the nail on the head there because I found your channel because I was looking for Rapid ATC videos to try to learn more about that and just see it in action and all that kind of stuff. So that's how I found your channel. And then once I watched one, another one pops up and I watch it. So I started, and of course, it doesn't take long to watch all your videos because there's not that many of them just yet.
Right.
But all of them are very informative. I like the way you do your live streams too, answering questions and showing the machine working, the RapidChange working. And that's kind of why I wanted to have you on tonight so we could show that, because the Altmill is, in my opinion, one of the finest machines as far as a bang for the buck that's out there currently. And then the RapidChange ATC just makes it so affordable for even a hobbyist if they wanted to you know get fancy with a automatic tool change and not break the bank. So
And
well,
with the with the automatic tool changer, that's what's so great about it for the hobbyist is it's achievable, it's affordable for the most part. It's less than $1,000 really to get everything you need to get set up with it. So that it's a no-brainer, really, getting into it. And I just can't believe that more people aren't getting involved with it. So that's kind of my thing that I've been on right now with my subscribers and doing one-on-ones, helping people get set up. And I think people are just kind of afraid of it because you got to get into the G codes and learn a few extra things. So, but it's really not too bad once you learn a few things.
yeah, Andy's got a comment here, and I think a question in here somewhere. He says, "I'm very interested in the ATC working with G Sender. Is that what you use?" I think is what he's asking. And I'm thinking of getting an ATC. Price range is in my ballpark, I think. So can you touch on that a little bit, Tom?
You bet. So the ATC that I have, let me switch over to my other screen here. Click OK. All right. So this ATC that I have here is a 8-pocket tool changer. It has the sensors, so if your tool doesn't pick up or your tool doesn't drop off, it'll come to your safe location for you to be able to make the tool change and then continue on. And it also has the dust cover on it. So this is the biggest one that they have for the average hobbyist user to purchase, with all the amenities. So, and it also has the tool length setter on it, all built right in. So this out the gate with them is $750, and it does not include any collets or anything like that. So you have to buy additional collets, additional collet nuts, things like that. But it comes with the wiring. It comes with the activation code for their website, so that you can do all your macros and G codes and get your post processors and all the things that you need to get. So my channel has several videos kind of going through those processes. It's not super duper organized, which is something I'm going to have to work on because I'm new, with the YouTube deal. And I need to get better with my videos. I think one of my lives, my audio was really messed up. So I'm just an average guy, learning through this stuff, just like anybody else would that's out there, watching this live stream. I am one of you guys, just putting myself out there to kind of show how this works and show you that it's really not that big of a deal. And I've done several, probably 8 different one-on-ones now. So I'm happy to give out my email address, which is just the NWWI Workshop at gmail.com. And people reach out, and then I'll give them my phone number from there, and then we'll just have a call, and I'll help them walk through their stuff. And it usually takes a half an hour, and they're off to the races. It doesn't take too much. So $750, and then get some collets. I think the collets you can get a 4-pack of collets for $20, or for collet nuts. And then you can get collets. I think 1/4-inch collets for my ER20 are, I think, $15 a piece is what I bought for the Techniques collets. So it's pretty minimal. It's definitely hobby grade, or hobby priced.
Yeah, I would definitely agree, because the only other one I think of off the top of my head is the ATC from PWN, which of course is the kind of like all the other ATCs with pneumatic and where you'd have to have air and all that stuff. And I think they started around $3,700 for theirs. So, you're talking about $3,000 less for what you've described versus what they have, and that makes it much easier for the hobbyist or the guy with the side gig, making a few bucks working the day job and then coming home and working in the garage at night or something. Um, Makes it a lot easier for them to get into this. So you said you had the 8 pocket. Does yours? I can't tell by looking. Does yours have the dust cover that flips up and down as well?
It does. Yep.
Okay, okay.
Yep.
I
It
could.
does. And I can zoom in on it here. I'll get my cam on the Altmill here, and I will zoom in on it a little bit. And you can do here. Do
Dan says his Altmill should be here next month, and he's on the list for the 4x8. Excellent.
How big is your
there.
alt mill, Tom?
What was that?
How big is your alt mill?
4 foot by 4 foot.
4 foot by 4. Okay.
Yep. So, and currently I have a wall bead. I just got to create my header. I got a couple of bigger signs that I got to do a pass through on. So I'm going to make a pass through my wall here, because I have on the other side of my wall is my lasering area in my old CNC, which is kind of decommissioned at the moment. But I do all my laser stuff over there. But I can do a full 4 foot by 8 foot signs, pass through with this.
Yeah, no, I think we talked about that earlier during one of our test sessions, but you said it's where you have your rapid ATC towards the back of your machine. You have to remove it to run something, something bigger, but that it's no problem taking it on and off and getting it relocated. You just because it's got those pins and things, right?
Yeah, and I'll grab this camera here and I'll just bring this in a little bit closer and give you an idea of what it takes here. So that's open. I just want to move this guy back. Try to keep an eye on my screen here, so I'll try to bring you in best I can with my little tripod here. But yeah, so let's see, there's 2 bolts here, 2 bolts middle, 2 bolts on the other end. You take those 6 bolts out, and this comes right off of here. I have my wire just going down through my table here, which it's really easy. I can easily disconnect that, reroute that. If I'm going to be moving this a lot, I would set it up different. I don't move it a whole lot. I could also create a plug there where I could plug it in, below my table and easily pull it through when I want on and off. But it's really easy to remove. And underneath, it has a couple of pins underneath it that locate the ATC other than the screws. So and they're very precise. So you get a pattern from ATC, and you can either pocket out, or you can just drill your holes and get them exactly to fit those 1/4-inch pins, and this thing just sets right into those pins and it locks it in. And then you just put your 6 screws down into your bed. You wouldn't even really probably have to do that. You could probably just let it sit on those pins, and it might be just fine sitting there like that if you didn't want to screw it down. But I'd recommend screwing it down, because when it does its tool changes, I mean, it's going against those bearings in there, and it does its thing to make sure you get the torque on your nuts and everything else. So, but yeah, it's definitely removable, really easy. For my setup, I could remove it in probably less than 3 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
And then I could do full sheets, use my whole thing, do manual tool changes, or use the G-Sender tool change commands to do manual where it'll come to me, but I could still use my tool set, offsetter, things like that. So there's a lot of options depending on how somebody is set up for their productivity.
Yeah. Now, is your, I know some of the RapidChange, I think it's like an extra option where you can get a tool setter that's built into that, or do you use a separate tool setter?
So my tool setter is built right into it. And that's where, well, I guess you can see on there where the light is. It's right above the light is where the tool setter is.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, I see it.
Yeah. So yeah, I can touch on it here, and it's an optical tool setter. So it's got a magnet deal inside of it that holds it up. So it's kind of, the magnets are kind of opposing each other. So that it really free floats in there, and it's super duper sensitive. So you don't have to go, down and touch it and then come up and then go really slow to touch it again. You'll see when I do some demos, you go right down into it like super fast and come right back up. I think it's at, I don't know, like 180 inches, which it's like 1500 millimeters per second, or however they calculate that.
Yeah.
But it comes down really fast. It just touches off one time. And I've done, like my cribbage boards, like we talked about, and other things. I mean, it just touches it off one time, and it's accurate within, I don't know, really accurate. So I can't even tell it's not accurate.
So another question just popped in my head. So since that one has the built-in tool, when you're doing something that's bigger where you've removed this, do you have a separate tool setter on your table somewhere that you use for the, you mentioned doing the manual tool changes?
I don't, but you could get one, and you could have it wired up to the same tool length setter pin right on the super longboard.
Mm-hmm.
And you could have that permanently mounted somewhere. But again, if you're going to mount that, that's taking up table space too. So if somebody would truly want to use the full 48 by 48 inches, you can't have anything mounted, right? So in my case, when I've had to remove it and do something bigger, I just use, the block that comes with the Altmill.
Okay.
Yeah. And, it's the XYZ block or whatever. And then I just manually do my tool changes like I did for years. It's not a big deal. But 99% of everything I do, I don't use the full table. I don't put sheets of ply on for me and run full production, full sheet, 4x4 sheets of plywood every single day. So, and if I did, I would probably just run 6 inches less on my Y-axis and leave my tool changer on there and run my production that way. So
yeah. Jerry from 3HP has a question for you, Tom. He's wanting to know, is the Rapid ATC mold injected or 3D printed?
HDPE. So it is literally, like, I would say the base of that is probably 1.5 inches thick white HDPE that they machine out, probably using their CNC machines.
Mm-hmm.
And then the top cap that's on there is black. And I believe, let me look a little closer. That looks like it's machined out. It's got a texture on the top of it. So that's HDPE as well. And it's just machined out. So it's like they put that on a CNC machine and they just machine them out for those parts. So it's solid HDPE. And then when you take that black top cap off of it, you have your springs. These are all spring loaded in here for your bits. Mm-hmm. So they can, push down, in there, drilled right through my table, so that my bits can stick down through my table and I can use any length bit I want.
Right.
So there are some components, but it's very minimal. I mean, I've been, I'm almost 50 years old. I've done a lot of things in my life, and usually the best answer is the simplest answer, right? When you make something, there's literally a couple pieces of HDPE on these. There's a spring in each pocket. There's a wearable part with the bearings in it, and that's what when your spindle engages the nut or disconnects the nut, that's where you'll hear it. It almost sounds like it's grinding, but it's meant to do that. Those ball bearings are set with springs inside there to give. If you get too much torque on it, instead of wrecking your spindle or anything else, it'll just slip in there. So you'll hear it slip like that sometimes, but it catches, and it's what puts the torque on your stuff. So it's very minimal, with like each pocket having 2 or 3 parts inside of it, and they're very easy to replace. And they'll give you the 3D files to, make those 3D print those inside parts, which are 3D printed with the ball bearings in them. And those are just a replaceable wear item that's in it. And I've done literally thousands of tool changes on this. I don't have anything showing any signs of wear yet.
Yeah, now I think it was in another somebody else's video, and I don't think they had the 8 pocket. I think they had 6 or something like that. But don't they also, like you mentioned, that one part is kind of a consumable eventually? Don't they send you some extras
Yep.
with
I can
it?
show you what those look like too. I got those right up here, I believe. Yeah, I guess I have all kinds of spare parts, but these here, let me see if I can get this in the view. So these are the 3D printed parts that are inside of the pockets with the ball bearings in them. And these ball bearings have little springs in them. They give just a little bit. Maybe there's not a spring inside there. Actually, I think they're just solid. But this is the item with the ball bearings that could wear. And mine shows no signs of wearing. I think it's a good thing that they're 3D printed, because that allows them to control what type of plastic they're going to use. I've learned a lot of things about these 3D printers, and their collet savers, they can actually make like a rubbery kind of a material that has give to it that's super strong. So they have a lot more access to different products when they 3D print stuff. And these are made just like HDPE. They're pretty solid. I don't think they're going anywhere. It's a pretty hard plastic, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah. Now,
you could certainly probably machine some of these yourself. Somebody that's got some skills, beyond my skill set, you could probably make these and mill them out of aluminum or something if you really wanted to, but I think that I would rather have these break than my spindle break. So
exactly. I think that's smart to have that be the weak link. So if something goes wrong, you're not out a bunch of money trying to get a
because I think that everything that these guys have designed on this, they did it intentionally with plastic and with the intent that they want this to break and these wearable parts to break before you break your machine or anything else. So
yeah, Tom,
a lot of people think.
Could you talk a little bit about, I think it was, well, I know it was one of your videos I saw where you mentioned what you use to keep the dust out of the collet?
Yeah, sure. Those are called the collet savers. Got a couple of different ones here. Let me see what I have here. I know I have one from CNC or from RapidChange on here. I just got to figure out which one I put it on. This one I don't even have one on here. These are all my custom jobs, and I'll show you that too. So here's my CNC, or my other one, which is actually, the double-sided sticky kind of came off. So, which is totally fine. So I don't know if you can see this here. Let me get into the camera.
There you go.
So, and I get the glare. So you can kind of see this 3D printed. It's a rubbery kind of a material that they 3D print. They sell these, I believe, in a pack of 4 for $10. And I'll show you my DIY that I made. But, these are okay, but they rely on double-sided tape, to work. They fit on these things really tight. and they actually hold these bits on, Collet, when this double-sided tape, doesn't give way. So all my other ones, I have them glued on. So this is all it is.
So it's like
It's
TPU then.
Yeah, I don't remember what they called it. I'm not a 3D expert, but it's a rubbery, stretchier kind of material, but it's pretty tough. And so you just slip this on your bit, and normally it has double-sided tape that you just peel the stuff off. So, and I did it the best I could, and I actually wiped down my collet nut with acetone. I used brake cleaner. And it's still kind of sticky, but it came off of there. And then once you have this on your bit, you just slide it into your collet, and it slides up, and it goes up here. No dust can now get up into your collet. So whether you have a tool changer or not, I mean, if I would have known about this years ago, I would have done this. You can see in here. Let me see how close I can get in here. It's all shiny inside there. There is no dust in here at all whatsoever.
That looks brand new.
Yeah. And I haven't used this bit a whole lot, but I'll show you one of my DIY solutions here. So here's a bit. I can get it in the middle of the picture. So these, I went to, up here in Wisconsin, we have what's called Menards, and which is like a Lowe's or a Home Depot, just your home shopping center. And these are just rubber fender washers. So it was, I believe, a 1.5 inch wide. This is a 1/4 inch bit. So I believe the inside hole was 3/16 of an inch. So that fits, snug on the bit. So it holds the bit inside there, nice tight. I CA glued these on here. And if you ever CA glue to metal, don't use the activator. Let it dry naturally, and it'll bond a lot better to the metal. Right. I learned that doing these. And you can see in here, I use this bit, acrylic and wood, all the time. This is one of those Amana special 3-flute bits. And I use the heck out of this thing. And it's sharp just like the day I bought it. But you can see, let me see if I can get this in here. There is no dust, not a sign of dust inside of here at all whatsoever. So whether you're using this tool changer or not, I would highly recommend either DIYing some collet savers or purchase them from RapidChange. But they're pretty easy to make. You see my edges here are pretty rough. I just took my utility knife and just this back so that it makes kind of this radius on the front here so it fits in the pockets nice and smooth.
Yeah. Tom, you probably can't.
That also holds your bit in there nice, so your bit can't come out of there at all.
Yeah, you probably can't see the screen right now since you're over there at the machine, but Jerry had a question. He says, Tom, do you have an affiliate link to share for the RapidChange ATC?
Well, believe it or not, they don't have affiliate links. So,
okay.
I work with Don and Thomas over there. Graylick, I believe, is their last name. And so I'm not doing this, for money. I'm just doing the CNC community to help everybody out. So I'm happy to do it. Sure, I would love to make money on it or whatever, but that's not my number one intent. My intent is to get people start using this technology because it's a total game changer. It has been for me. And I just do it a little bit here and there because, part of the story for me is when I first got into CNC, my whole mentality was like, oh, I'm going to get a CNC machine. So for woodworking, I can hit a button. And when I come back, stuff should be done, right? It's automation. It's CNC. But I quickly learned that that's really not it. You got to come back every 10 minutes and change your bits, and you're constantly changing things. So you really can't walk away from your machine. But now I have what my original vision was. I can hit go on my machine. I can make cribbage boards with 7 tool changes each, come back in 6 hours, and I have all my cribbage boards done. And that's kind of what my vision was to begin with. So when I saw this, all these, the Altmill, the RapidChange, the dust boot, I thought, wow, what a trifecta package. And people need to know about this because this is the true full automation for the hobbyist, you know, in this setup.
Yeah. Now, what say the first CNC machine you had, was it a Shark? Is it
Yep, it's a Next Wave Shark. I believe it was the HD3 when they first came out with it about 10 years ago.
okay?
So my
Okay.
dad bought it new from Rockler, and then a few years ago, he handed it down to me.
Okay. Now, what kind of control software is used for that machine?
They have a proprietary controller for their machines, and you can't do any customizations to that, to my knowledge.
Okay, I was thinking that was the case, but I wasn't sure. So no Mach 3 or anything like that. It's just strictly their proprietary stuff. So that
Right.
leads me up to my next question is, how do you like the newer, what's it called, the super long board, I think, or what is it Altmill calls that
Yeah, it's
control?
a super longboard EXT is what the Altmill has.
Okay, and what are your thoughts on that? You like it? I mean, I guess you don't have a whole lot to compare it to other than the proprietary thing from the
I
Next
mean,
Wave.
the only thing I had was the Next Wave. We had, I have the X tool for a laser, and so personally, those are the only type of controllers that I have. Now, I used to work at a woodworking company where they had a $500,000 CNC machine. It was a little bit older one. We had to use SolidWorks and a bunch of other programs, and then they convert that to the G code, and then that was all proprietary G code for them. And you had to be a very well trained CNC operator to understand how to run those big, $500,000 machines.
Mm-hmm.
So that type of experience, this Altmill with the Super Longboard EXT is open source, fully configurable. You can do whatever you want with it. I mean, it has its limitations, but for me as a hobbyist, or even if I wanted to go full production, it does everything that I would want it to do. And if I get into aluminum or anything where I need to use coolant or some kind of mist sprayer or something, it has all the things that you would need in there for that as well. So it's been super smooth transition for me. Super easy to learn, lots of information out there. Uh, I highly recommend the Altmill. It's a night and day difference, obviously, from what I had to what I have now. I think my max Z speed was, I believe, 70 inches per minute. Old one. Now this Altmill is like 380 or something like that. So
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
went from doing 12-hour 3D carves. I can do them now in half an hour. It's a
Yeah.
huge
Yeah.
difference.
Well, somebody's going to be real happy later on in August. It looks like David Groove says he's scheduled to receive his 4x4 Altmill later in August. So congratulations, David. I know you're looking forward to that.
It's a long wait, but it is so worth it.
Yeah.
I'm still excited about my long mill or my Altmill.
You said you had some, I think you said you got a demo that you can run for us.
I do. We can do all kinds of different things here. So I can just do a basic tool change without, I can take the dust boot off. So let's just start. I'll take the dust boot off so you can kind of watch it work here. So the dust boot, let me zoom my camera back out here so you guys can kind of see what I'm doing a little better. Let's see. I'm learning OBS software at the same time here as I go, so bear with me. Camera control, zoom back out. Oops. Okay. So there, we're zoomed back out. I will put the machine where you guys can kind of see what I'm doing here. So this dust boot is from Francis Creations, and he's on YouTube, and he's got a website, I believe, and everything. You can purchase it from him. It is expensive, but I believe it's totally worth it. I believe that it was $350 or $380. But it has some pretty cool functionality, and it's really nice and easy to use. So let me just get my hose out of the way.
Yeah, it's not your grandpa's dust boot.
So this is the part that comes off, and mine's the older style where it has this hard plastic, where he now has a 3D printed accordion looking piece here, so that the spindle can go deeper into this without hitting this part. It was kind of a hindrance. And then the rest of this here, so you have, functionality goes up and down. It's got its own motor on it. You can adjust everything fully, all those kinds of things. And it's right into the control board, so it does everything automatically. So as we do a tool change here, you might not see it now, but it should, this dust boot would go up and go down, but I'm just going to leave everything's open in its natural state. So it doesn't close the shield, the dust shield on the ATC, and it doesn't put the dust boot down unless I need dust collection on a program. That's how I have it set up. So I can manually open and close them. So and I'll show you that here real quick. So they're just on the coolant pin, on the flood pin. So if I turn my flood pin on, you can see that it dropped the dust boot and it closed the dust cover. So now I'm in dust mode, right? And if I turn it off, see the dust boot goes up and it opens, the dust cover, so I can change the tool. So I just manually did those, but I have it all in the programming. It does it all automatic, which we'll see here coming up when I do a program, and I'll cut into some of this plywood that I have here.
Yeah, you're right. 350 or whatever is a little pricey, but it's totally worth it because it has a motor, and it's just down to do things that your typical dust boot's not going to do.
Oh yeah, I mean, if you can run this for sure with the tool changer, but you won't have dust collection. You would have to stop every time to put your dust collection on. I think there's some other people out there, PWN, CNC, and some other people are working on other docking boots and different things that I've seen, but this thing is just super easy, and you put it on and you're done. It just works. So I didn't put mine on initially because I didn't want to break it. So I left it off and just made a mess. But now that I've had a chance to work with it, I'm comfortable running it and using it. So, okay, I'm going to leave my mic on. I do have a filter on my mic, so hopefully that this won't be too loud when this does a tool change.
Okay, real quick before you fire that up, Tom, let's get this from David. He says, can I get any recommendations if I should try designing in Fusion 360 or bite the bullet and get V-Carve? What do you use for designing, Tom?
So my only experience for CNC router is with V-Carve Pro.
Okay. Well, I can definitely vouch for that. I've been using V-Carve Pro for nearly 20 years, so it's hard to beat that one, I think. And Fusion 360 is, I always hear people say it's got a bigger learning curve and all that, and I'm just not a Autodesk fan, which is people who make Fusion 360. So,
yeah, my only other experience is with Lightburn, and I learned Lightburn on YouTube, start to finish. A lot of design work. I got really good at that. So I had a whole nother business. This is the Northwest Wisconsin Workshop that I have now here, but we had Infinity Laser before this, which is technically still an LLC. I'm not active in that right now. But we still do things I have a few accounts with some customers that we do laser stuff and do beer tokens and engrave on glass and do some things like that. But I just don't do that, full time. That's just for some special customers.
Yeah, Dave was asking what version of V-Carve we're using. I haven't got the latest, greatest update, which is 12.5. I've been holding off because that hadn't been out a terribly long time. I always wait until they get, in case there's any bugs and they have to do a patch or something. So I'm still technically on version 12, but I do have the free update for 12 and a half that, or 12.5, that I'll get here pretty soon.
Yeah, and I'm on the 12.504, and I can tell you that I don't have any issues. Some of the things that I was having issues with are now fixed. The biggest thing that I had with VCarve and the super longboard, which is not really particular to the super longboard, is when you go from inch to millimeters, and I tried using the millimeter post processor, which I didn't have success with yet. I had rounding errors when I would try to do circles, and my programs would stop. And I learned that in VCarve, if you go into the options under the edit, there's the rounding options, and you can change that from, what is it, 0.0004, which I know that's a high tolerance, but when you go to millimeters, it's a lot more sensitive. So I changed mine now to 0.0002, and I haven't had any rounding issues so far. So VCarve Pro has been working just perfect for me now.
That's good to know.
Yeah. Well, if you're saying it's bug free, I'll go ahead and get the 12.5.
Yep, I know what you're saying with the bugs.
It's bug free to you try and use it, Dave.
I think the only thing that they've done from 12.5, well, you're on 12.0, so yeah, 12.5, they came up with some new stuff and the new things, and I don't know what they are off the top of my head because I just got used to it, but they're just improvements. I mean, for the most part, they haven't really changed a whole lot. So, but I'm getting a bit deeper and deeper every time in this stuff with doing my different arrays on here. So instead of, doing different copies on my actual 2D, I just do arrays now. When I want to run multiple of something on the toolpath, you can do an array and it creates all the toolpaths and everything for you. It's super simple. So there's a lot of really cool things now that they have in here. So,
Dan has another question for you, Tom. He says, have you ever had a bit come loose?
Not with the collet savers, no.
Okay.
So I haven't had any issues with them slipping up. I haven't had any issues with bit slip at all. Now, I'll say that there's a caveat to that. So there are settings that you need to adjust for your machine, whether you have an ER11, an ER16, ER20, 25, whatever you have. You have to play with this until you get your settings right to get the torque on the nuts the way that you're comfortable with. So you'll see on mine the double strike on mine. So it picks up the tool, and then it'll strike it twice to make sure I'm good and tight on there. And if I were to buy probably better collet nuts, I bought the cheapest ones you can find on Amazon, and I have almost the cheapest collets that you can find on Amazon. And that's what I'm working with. And the tolerance is pretty good. There's minimal run out for woodworking. There's definitely way better stuff out there that tighten up a lot better and a lot easier. But because my stuff is cheaper, there are a few burrs in there that you can kind of feel with your finger and things, but I haven't had to dress them or do anything with it. I just roll with it, and I've had no bit slip or anything. So you just got to tweak your RPMs to get the torques where you need them. So at first, when I was first setting this up, I did have a bit, slip down a little bit. And it's kind of weird when it happens because you're like, what is going on with this thing? And it's not doing what you're expected to. And I realized that the bit was slipping. Well, it's totally my fault because I was at the very low end of my RPMs, and I should have had my RPMs when I called and talked to RapidChange. I think I was at 1,200 RPMs, and they're like, oh, you can go all the way up to 2,500 RPMs with an ER20. So I was like, oh, wow. So now I'm at, I think, 2,200 RPMs. I load, and at I believe 2450 for my unload. RPMs. So you just got to play with those RPMs until you get it dialed in to where you feel comfortable with, your bits not slipping. And since then, hundreds and hundreds of tool changes later, I've not wrecked one product that I've made because of the tool changer. I'll say that.
Okay. Yeah, that's kind of I've been hearing from other videos I've watched that once they get it dialed in, well, just like anything, you got to get it adjusted properly, and then it's just, you know, just works.
Yeah, and it's actually really forgiving. And I'm not going to say that it's perfect, but it's been 99.9% perfect for me. And I never, this is the Altmill right out of the box. I don't have a tramming tool. I haven't trammed anything. I haven't done anything to it. I just run it, and it's not in perfect tram. I can tell you that because when I surface my spoil board, it does leave some little ridges, and I just sand them and get them smooth, and I just roll with it. It's, for me, it's woodworking. I'm not doing aluminum and super high precision stuff. What matters to me is when you do the bit changes and on my cribbage boards, I have to pocket out around my 3D carve that I'm going to do. And then that 3D carve, that 3D bit has to match the depth of my pocket that I did. And it matches to a T every single time. I mean, there's no difference at all whatsoever in that, even with the speed of the tool setter. It matches it perfect every time when it changes bits. So that's all the precision that I need. On my old machine, when I would have to manually probe that Z and get that just right, I always had to monkey with that. I always had extra sanding to do because it was never exactly the way I needed it for how it pocketed. I make my cribbage boards with like a 1.5 inch stock. And then my finished cribbage board, the playing area is 3/4 of an inch. And my 3D, whatever 3D component I have on there is up 3/4 of an inch above that, is above the cribbage board. So to make that happen, those bits have to line up on the Z just perfect. And with this one, it's amazing. I don't hardly have any sanding when I'm done on those. I run it on my drill press with one of those brushes and clean it all up on there with the brushes, and that's pretty much it. I might hit a little bit of sandpaper, but that's pretty much it. Put a finish on them and send them out.
Okay. All right. Well, we'll shut up so you can run your demo here, because
Sure.
I know I for one am anxious to see this thing go.
Sure. So I'm going to do a demo here. I'm just going to do a manual tool change, so you're not going to get a lot of action. I want to see how this reacts with my microphone and stuff. Then you guys can kind of tell me. This will be real quick. So I'm just going to verify. I wish I had I got my G panel computer, so it doesn't, I don't show that on here, which I wish I could, but I'm just going to double check and make sure I know what my current tool is. So it says my current tool is number 8. I do have tool 8. So I always verify these things. And I'm just doing this out loud so everybody can kind of see my thought process. Whenever I'm doing things, I'm always going through this checklist in my brain, right? So I want to make sure that the machine knows what bit that it has in it and make sure that number 8 pocket doesn't have a bit in it because I was just moving bits around, right? So I got to make sure that I don't go try to unload this and put this down on top of another bit that's in my cassette. So, because I'm kind of dumb that way sometimes, and I can, move things around and get moving in a hurry. So I always verify this stuff. So all I have to do to make this tool change manually is in G-Sender, I go into my console, and it knows that I have tool 8. So all I have to do is type in the M6 code. So I type M6, and then whatever tool I want. So the letter T, and pick a tool. So let's just pick up tool number 1. So M6 and then T1, that's the G code. So that's what a lot of people are afraid of, is the G codes, right? You type in M6 T1, I hit run, and here we go. That's it. It's ready to rock and roll.
That's really slick.
It is slick, isn't it?
Did you know
So,
she got a super chat?
I did. You talking about from right here?
Yep.
David Grooms. Thank you very much, sir. Appreciate that.
Yeah, that's really.
so
It,
I'll walk you through the steps that it did. So the first thing that it did is it knew it had tool 8. So when I told it I wanted to pick up tool 1, it knows to go drop off tool 8. So you have to make sure that you know that your machine knows what tool is in it. Super important. So as long as
Oh,
that's
you don't.
happens,
Yeah, you don't have to. As long as you verify what tool is in it and that pocket is empty, the software already knows that once you use a different tool, it knows it has to go put that one up.
right? Yep. And so once I type in that G code M6T1, it knew it had tool 8. It had to go drop it off. So the first thing it did is it went over, dropped down in, and it stops shy, and then it ramps up that spindle. And those are settings that you can put in there for how long you need to pause. So I've adjusted mine because I let my spindle wind up slower than most because I like to protect my spindle. And so I've increased my G4 pauses to be a little bit longer. And I mean, you're talking a half a second or a second in these different instances. And then it goes down and it drops off the tool. It's one strike and it unloads the tool. It comes all the way back up to Z0. And then it goes over to pocket 1. And then it down to its specified location that you set, they make it super easy for all these settings. And then it ramps up with another G4 pause until the spindle gets up to speed. And then it goes down, it picks up the spindle, and then it does 2 strikes to lock it in. So it's actually a 3 strike, they call it, because when it first picks it up, it tightens that nut on to your spindle. And then I have it do 2 more strikes where it gets full RPM in there, strikes it, and it does a third one and strikes it. And that gets me the same exact torque with these RPM settings as when I put the wrenches and I wrench them on by hand, and how I used to do it on my machine. And I kind of over wrench things, but it's at the same exact torque that I would wrench them on by hand. And I can go even higher with it yet too.
Now, when you put the G code in there, do you find the part of your run where you want to insert that G code and put it in there, or do you put a macro reference, or how do you, like when you're going from I don't know, a straight cut to a round over? Do you have to find that point in your program to insert that, or how does it know where to do it?
So when you create your program in Vectric, so I'll use Vectric
Yep.
as an example,
Yep.
or VCarve, right?
Yep.
Each tool that you can assign a tool number to it.
Yep.
So I have an 8-pocket magazine, so I can assign up to 8 tools. So if you accidentally if you forget to change it when you're doing your programming in your CAM software, and you have a straight bit and a round over, and you have them both listed as tool number 7, it won't even let you save the file. It'll error. It'll say you have 2 different tools with the same tool number, and it won't work. So you have to assign your tool numbers in your CAM software, and that's in your post processor. When it creates your G code file, it will tell what tool number to go pick up.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yep. So, and I'm going to run a program. So I got a program I'm going to run that's actually going to cut out a piece in this wood here, and you'll get to see it change 3 bits and do operation. So I'll click run, and I'll be hands-free, and it'll do the whole thing by itself. and then all we got to do is pick up the piece and show the camera. So you'll get to see that.
Okay.
So does that answer your Paul?
Yep. Yes, it does.
Okay. So once it picks that up and does those strikes to get the torque on the nut, it goes back up to Z0. And then because it already had a bit in it, it already had a tool length offset in memory. So it knew the length of the previous bit. Okay. So now when it goes over to my tool set and it goes down and it touches off on that tool setter, now it'll adjust the difference of my Z0 based on the difference, whether that bit was longer or shorter. It will do that offset automatically. And now if I bring this bit and put it right down onto the board, it'll be at the exact same spot Z0 as my last bit was, even though my last bit was shorter. That's just typical how the tool length offsetters work. And that's all built into the programs that they provide. And then I have it, and you notice when it was done, it pulled out. And I do that because I have the dust boot. So everything that I do, I have a park location for that dust boot. So it used to be they have you reverse your flood pin. So in order for things to work, you had to basically turn your flood pin off, and that would put your dust boot down, and it would close your cover. And then to open it, it would turn the flood pin on, open your dust cover, raise your dust boot, and then go do the tool change. Well, for me, I thought that was backwards. Because if I hit the E-stop, well, guess what happens when you shut it off? The dust cover closes and the dust boot goes down because it shuts off your flood pin. And then, so now you can get your dust boot, if you're over top of your cassette for your ATC, they can kind of crash into each other if you have to hit the E-stop when you're over top of it. So I just reversed that flood pin. So its normal state now is with the dust boot up and the dust cover open. But I'm not making any dust right now, so that's okay. So it just turns the flood pin on and puts it in dust collection mode when I'm actually material, which makes sense to me. So that's the opposite of what they tell you to do, but their instructions for the automatic tool changer are just for the automatic tool changer, not considering an automatic dust boot. So these are some of the tips and tricks, I guess, that when I do one-on-ones with people and we have the calls, I kind of explain things to them. And if they want to make those changes right away, I can walk them right through it. It takes seconds to help people, walk through that and make those changes. Super easy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that makes a lot more sense doing it that way.
That way, when you hit the E-stop, nothing happens. It just stops. So before, when you do it the other way, when you hit the E-stop, well, then it closes everything and puts the dust boot down, and then that can cause issues.
Yeah,
so.
Yeah. All right. Well, were you going to try to run something or cut something?
Yep. So we can cut something. I can. Do you want to cut something without the dust boot on there? Unless you want me to. Why don't I put the dust boot on, and then I'll do another tool change, and you can kind of see. Well, I'll put the dust boot on. We'll do the cut. Then you can see everything operate with the dust boot on it and everything.
Okay. Yeah, that'd be great.
You won't be able to see the bit cutting, but I have 3 more programs set up one after another. We can do 3 cuts. They don't take very long.
Okay,
so they're
sure.
pretty short programs. Let's do it as cutting out, a circle. So let me put this dust boot on here.
We had one other question too. while you're doing that, David Groom says, when dropping off and picking up, what are your RPMs?
So it's going to be different for everybody. Mine, I believe, are at 2250 and 2450. I believe are what my RPMs are at.
Okay, so that's 2250 for dropping off and 2450 for picking up.
The opposite. It's a higher. The
Okay.
higher number is for dropping off.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, because you need a little. When you put it on, you want a little bit more. I think their default is 300 RPMs more to unload to make sure that it takes that tool off of there. I've had it, and I had, I think, 2 times in a couple of different runs where, for whatever reason, it didn't take it off. And then all it does is it just comes to you and waits, and then it shows you on G-Sender, and it says, tells you exactly what to do in the cassette as well. Unload the bit, and then you take your bit off, you go put it back in your cassette, and then once you hit go, then it just resumes and it'll go pick up the other bit and continue on. So it's not a big deal, but if I'm not in the room and I'm doing a production run, I want it fully automatic. So I increased it by 50 RPMs and I haven't had an issue since. So I'm at 350 RPMs higher than my load speed. And now it takes it off every single time.
Yeah.
So I'm going to mute my mic. I just have this so I can put it on. This might come off of there. We'll see. I'm not too worried about it, but I'm going to mute my mic because I'm going to turn the dust collector on. It's going to get loud for me. So let me see if I can. Did that mute my mic? Right? No, nothing. No sound, right?
No, we can still hear you.
Oh, can you?
Yeah.
All right.
Okay, I think EVMux has some built-in noise cancellation stuff, so when there's a loud noise, it turns itself down. Yeah, you're muted now.
Hey, Ryan.
Hello. Sorry I'm late.
Part, buddy.
Sorry I'm late.
Did you bring a hall pass or?
man.
Bring me a piece of birthday cake or something.
I tell you what. Oh, I'm a fat pig. It is disgusting.
You don't really want me to comment on that, do you?
I don't care. I deserve it. It was bad. Ooh. So
Well, we're
I've
watching Tom's demo here. He's muted because he's got dust collection running.
Yeah,
But
I've been listening for like the last 20 minutes or so. I missed the last 5 when I got back here to the house, but I've been listening for like the last 20.
Okay, all right.
Man, those are some hold downs right there.
Yeah, that's not playing there.
Yeah. When he messes up and wants to break a bit, he's going to break a bit. Look at that. There you go.
Oh, look at there. I know that guy.
So
Okay,
cool.
yeah, I think he's getting ready to unmute.
Can you hear me now?
Yep.
Yeah, we can hear you. That was awesome. I had another question pop up. I was waiting for you to get back unmuted. Marcelo's asking, he says, are there sensors in the ATC indicating tools in each pod holder?
There is not.
But there is a sensor that tells it whether it picked it up or dropped it off, right?
Yes. So there's a beam sensor that goes, how do I explain this, from one side to the other side, and they can see each other. So when it is going to pick up a tool, it is set at a very specific spot. When it picks up a tool and it raises up, you can see it raises up really slowly. And when it gets to a certain level, if it has not cleared that sensor, it knows not pick up the tool properly, and it will bring that tool to you to adjust it properly if it's still blocking the sensor. You can make that adjustment. If you were to get a cross thread, which I've never had, you could fix the things that need to be fixed and then hit the program and manually do that tool. But once you resume, then it's going to go back and it's going to do its touch off and it's going to continue right on. So you don't have to restart anything. It's going to continue on. Same thing with unloading. So when it goes down to unload, it'll block that sensor and it knows where to go. It unloads that tool, and when it comes back up slow, if it doesn't clear that sensor when it's supposed to for unloading a tool, it'll come and say it didn't unload the tool. Unload your tool and then hit resume. So, yeah, you have to be a little bit careful. You have to know as the CNC operator of what is in your cassette and where your bits are at. So when you're doing your project setup for whatever run you're going to do, you have to double check your CAM software with your tools and make sure that the bits are in the tool spots that they need to be. Now in GSender, when I'm looking at my program right here, it tells me right on here in my info that I have 3 tools, and well, it doesn't tell me which tools, but it does somewhere on here. It'll tell you what tools are on your program and what your bits are. And that might be in the CAM software when you create your file.
All right. And Tom, like tonight, whatever tool you have in the spindle right now, if you shut your machine off, turn everything off, come back out tomorrow and then boot your computer up, does GSender remember what tool is in there? Is that, or is that only while the power's still on?
It does not remember. If you reset your controller, it will not remember your tool. It'll go back to 0 as a default.
Okay.
I'm sure at one point or another, CNC Labs is going to change that, just like they do for their homing. It remembers your home your 0 positions when you reset your controller. So they just haven't made that change to make it remember what tool is in there, because they're not thinking about tool changing right now. But I think with that said, and I'm speculating, that they're building their 4x8 and they're designing that, and they're going to have tool changing with that. Seems to be the direction they're going to go. They're going to, when they go through their testing processes and they shut them down, they're going to realize our thing doesn't save the tool, the last tool, so that needs to change, right? So it does not. So there's a procedure that you just have to do when you reset your controller. I created a macro right in GSender, so I click one button to assign a tool, and there's another button on my macros that I click that tells me what tool it believes it has. And once you do a couple of those things, then there's another button that you can click on the macros in here, automatically go touch off that tool to get the length of that tool. So you just do those things. So you home your machine. So just like everything else with GSender and Altmill, you have to home your machine when you turn it on. So when you have an automatic tool changer, not only do you have to home your machine, you now have to tell it what tool it has or doesn't have and do a tool length offset of that tool. So it just creates 3 things to do when you first start up your machine instead of 1. But it literally takes a couple of seconds to do.
Yeah, Marcelo's saying, so it works kind of like a safety beam in a garage door opener. I guess that's kind of the same thing.
Yep. That's a great analogy. Yep.
Similar concept. Okay, well, we've been at it here an hour, 23 minutes just about. So does anybody have any other questions for Tom? Or it's been really cool to see not only the Altmill, which I'm a huge fan of, but the Rapid ATC as well. That really,
yeah, and I really didn't set up any major speed tests or anything. I was thinking about doing that, but yeah, I didn't set anything up. If you want, you could take the dust boot off and do a run without the dust boot, so you can kind of see more of what's going on. We can do another one of these cuts if you want to.
Well, I hate to get your shop all dusty, because I know it's when you run those things without a dust shoe, it can make a mess in a hurry. So
yeah, it's not too big of a deal, but it's up to you. You know, if you wanted to show that, but otherwise, yeah, I all the time without a dust collector. I like dust.
Yeah, I used to shoot. Of course, I shoot, videos, and I always used to shoot the video machine running without dust collection. But I've pretty much here lately decided I'm not doing that anymore. I'm just they can just imagine what it looks like under that dust shoe, and they're going to get to see the part when it's done anyway. So
right,
they get to see the spinny bit already.
Yeah.
Tom, is there? Maybe you already answered this question before when I wasn't here, but with the Rapid ATC or the RapidChange ATC, anything that you would want it to do differently than what it does now?
Yeah, I think they had. So RapidChange ATC had in development a what is it called? I want to say rotary. It's not rotary, but
the carousel. Yeah.
Yeah, and they have a video out there. If you look up RapidChange ATC turret. You can see a couple of different production things that they were working on or development, where it rides on the side of the gantry and it's out of the way completely and it's up a little bit higher. So when it wants to change a tool, it literally comes in and then it can change a tool and it rotates. And once it changes the tool, then it moves right back out of the way. So, and then it's not mounted to your surface. So I would say if there was one thing, I would invest in that if they had that, because then you don't have it mounted to your table and it just goes in with your other wiring and you can do your pass-throughs, you can use your full bed. That would be the only thing that I would say. Otherwise, this design is just so simple. It's silly why they haven't had this before. So awesome. It's a silly, simple design. I mean, it is so simple. And the hardest part is, the G and, understanding that side of it. So going and getting into an ATC is going to turn you from a hobbyist into a beginner CNC operator. That's the only way I can put it, because you're going to learn some G codes. You're going to learn some behind the scenes stuff. You're going to learn how to troubleshoot when things don't go quite right, and learn how to tweak some things as you go. So it's not just 100% hobby, but it fully automates it. So I really have nothing but great things to say about it.
Awesome.
So I've done no maintenance on it at all whatsoever, other than blowing it out with my mouth. I don't have an air compressor or anything down here. So I just blow it out, but it doesn't ever really get much dust in it anyway when I use dust collection. So
yeah, JR's got an interesting comment here. He says, I bet that NFC tags or something could be attached to the tooling for identification if they could do it without unbalancing the tool. That's an interesting comment there.
I don't know what an NFC tag is.
Well, I guess it's just something they put on the tool for, so that, there'd be something that would read it and tell it what tool's in there. Sure. By scanning over it or something.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure that those capabilities are there. But, for the hobby level, so a lot of the comments that I get on my channel, I honestly haven't had haters at all whatsoever. Everybody has been really, really great for my small beginning channel. But some of the people get so detailed about, well, it should do this and it should do that. Like, everybody needs to remember that this is hobby level, but it's literally good enough and then some to do full production for a long time. And, I think it's a really, really good product. It doesn't have every feature that the $300,000 machines have. But I don't know that if you had all those things on there, how much more would you be willing to pay for that? So for me, I don't want anything else. I like the simplicity of it. It's less to configure. I just have to make sure I know what tools are in which spot, and I make sure I have my tools in my Vectric for my programs, and you just got to double check it. And that's part of the hobby, side of things, is you just got to kind of double check things, But once you're set up and if you do the same things all the time, it's just a matter of putting the right bits in the right slots and make sure your tools are all set up in there. And that's what they have all the templates for in Vectric and VCarve. You can set up all your templates and all this kind of stuff to automatically have all these things based on what productions you're running. So it's pretty darn good, I think, for a hobby level experience. Yeah. And to get you into full automation. 100%.
Yeah, I just wanted to mention this again. If you're just tuning in or we're late tuning in, where we were talking about, introducing Tom and his new YouTube channel and stuff like that, there's a link on the screen right now to his YouTube channel. show the guys some love, and if you are on the fence about getting an Altmill or a Rapid ATC or maybe both, like Tom did, he's the guy you want to watch. He's putting out great content. The YouTube channel's small. He's only been at it a couple of months or so, but he's the one that you want to go watch to learn about either one of these items. So just wanted to mention that. The link's right there for you.
Yeah, thank you, Dave. Yeah, and just to mention, I'm happy to work one-on-one with people too. I'm doing this for fun. I'm doing this to give back. I don't have a program to charge people. I'm doing it on nights and weekends. I like doing it as of right now. So if you're looking at getting in, I'm happy to work with you one-on-one, help you get it set up. So if you're nervous and you don't feel like you're going to have the support I'm here for you. And there's guys on my channel that you can reach out to, I'm sure, in the comments on there too, that vouch for that, the guys that I've helped. So we have a really good community over there, helping people out with this stuff. It's not as hard as you would think.
Okay, explore the task. If I could get one machine, should it be a CNC or a laser engraver? And as far as I'm concerned, that would depend on what you want to do with it, because they're both pretty cool machines, but they do different things. So you'd have to decide what your main product or what you wanted to do with it before you would decide. And of course, I like all of them. I like CNC routers. I like laser engravers, both diode and CO2. Let's throw in a 3D printer just for giggles too, because you can use a 3D printer for a lot of cool stuff.
Yeah, I can give you my 2 cents on that. So the way I came up with this stuff is I started out with a laser engraver, and I bought the X-Tool D1 Pro, and we made a little business out of it. Super fun. I quickly outgrew that. Now everybody's got their learning curves, right? So for me, I outgrew that, and I knew that I wanted more because I've been woodworking kind of my whole life. And I just got lucky, and my dad handed me down his CNC machine so I could dip my toes in the water. If you have the money, I would say, and if you have the woodworking experience, I would go right into CNC. They're making things a lot easier now. But if you want to learn about some things and you don't have a lot of money, I would start out with a laser, because you learn a lot of the basics with a laser on just how CNCs work with lower initial cost.
They're all a rabbit hole.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, that's true. I think you mentioned this earlier, but David Grooms is asking, does the auto dust boot come from PWN?
The auto dust boot comes from Francis Creations. So I believe
I was wondering if that's where that came from.
Yeah, so I believe it's franciscreations.com, I believe. And he also has a YouTube channel. If you look up Francis Creations, or if you just type in the search for auto dust boot, he will come up on there. And he's very technical. And some of his stuff was over my, and it was hard to understand. And that's another reason why I wanted to help with my channel, to help bring things down to a more layman's kind of a level, to help the average person like me that doesn't understand all the G-code stuff, and to be able to work this stuff. He's on another level. He understands how to do all this stuff behind the scenes in firmware. He's very IT techie, and I thought it would be a good opportunity to help him. So I'm a huge proponent of his product. He makes a beautiful product, and I got nothing but good things to say about that. But yeah, Francis Creations for the auto dust boot.
Okay, yeah, I've seen he does a lot of little, I guess not shorts, but whatever, what do you call them, Facebook Reels or whatever, where he's showing off some of the stuff he's done. So,
And he's got a Altmill, and he also has the Onefinity. And I don't remember if he has one of the Shape Hokos. I want to say he did at least at one point in time.
Yeah, and he's very good. He's just one notch or two or three or 10 above me when it comes to technical abilities. I have very little technical abilities. I can learn things and figure things out, but I'm more tunnel vision, where he's very techy and he knows how to do all kinds of things, and it just goes right over my head.
Yeah, he's an outside the box thinker for sure.
For sure. Super good.
Okay, well, looks like everybody's enjoyed the demo and seeing the Altmill and the Rapid ATC. So thank you, Tom, for coming on and going through. I know you went to a lot of trouble setting all this camera stuff up. It's it's easy to do this stuff, not as easy as some people think, but I appreciate you going above and beyond to
It was
do
my
this
pleasure.
demo.
I just happened to just get all this new equipment and just in time to get this stuff set up. So it gave me a reason to get this stuff set up here, and I'm glad it worked out. I think my audio is better. So that's one thing about YouTube. You just try to get a little bit better every week, right? So
Yep,
this is just
that's
me
the
trying to
goal.
get a little bit better.
Yep.
And I
Yep.
appreciate the opportunity, and I appreciate you having me. So it's been great. Thank you very much.
Okay. Well, we're going to go ahead and I guess I don't see any more questions, so we'll go ahead and sign off here. Now, Tom, if you'll stick around after we sign off here, and we'll chat for a bit. And I meant to tell you that earlier, and I have had guests on before, and I forget to tell them that, and I hit the end broadcast thing, and then boom, they're gone. So make sure you get around a minute, and we'll chat for a bit. But anyway, thanks everybody for tuning in tonight. Paul, you got any final words over there, buddy?
Nope, I'm good. I appreciate the demonstration, and I feel like I'm leaving with more knowledge than I started.
Okay. All right. Well, you probably need one of those ATCs for your Onefinity, Paul. I'm just saying.
Man, I'll tell you, you know how it goes. You know,
You probably have to clear a spot off first to put it right.
Well, you know, I almost made the comment when Tom first came on and I saw his saw behind him. And don't take this the wrong way, Tom, but I'm glad to see you join the club of any horizontal is your enemy.
Yeah, that's kind of an inside joke with me and Paul, because his YouTube channel is Paul's Workshop, and that's not my YouTube channel, but I do have a messy workshop. So, how about you, Ryan? You got anything final thoughts?
Not right offhand, because I need to go back and watch the rest of the show.
Okay, well, good. That'll be at least one more view.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we're going to get out of here then. Thanks everybody for tuning in. And like I said, be sure and head on over to NWWI Workshop, the YouTube channel link. I think I forgot to put it in the description, but I'll add it as soon as I get off here. But it's in the live chat there. So go over there and sub, and Tom will help out. Got some great content over there. So, all right, we're going to get out of here. Good night, everybody. And we will see y'all next week.
See ya.
Good night.